It's mid-May here on the River Yure, and the yellow mays have started about 2 or 3 days ago in earnest, which means lots and lots of heptagenid nymphs. May is a perfect time for nymph fishing. We've also still got quite a few large dark olives coming off, which means Baetis nymphs. So we're going to now fish classic upstream nymphing with casts of 2 to 3 rod lengths, working in the shallow riffles. Before we start, however, we've got to make our tackle up. I've got here a brand new 7.5 foot tapered leader down to 3 pounds at point, and onto this I'm going to put 3 foot of tippet. First of all though, a lot of people have problems when they're confronted with a new leader. They get in all sorts of tangles. The first thing to do is stick the leader in your fingers and put tension on, and then just feed the thick end, work on the thick end, feed the thick end round until you unfurl the first few turns, and then it's simply a case of unwrapping it against still taut fingers all the way, and out she comes. This has got coil memory in it. It's also got a large pear-shaped loop in the end, which is not streamlined enough for me. I like the loop to be tightly closed, and I'm going to show you a very nifty method of doing that. We've got a spoon here, an old spoon, and right in the neck I've rounded it very smooth, and this also gives me something to anchor my hands onto. You'll notice too that this loop has been made with a perfection knot, so the main running line, the main leader, is central to the loop. So I'll slip that over, lock my fingers round like that, and then really pull. This is probably 30-pound breaking strain here, so I ain't got the muscles to break this. So really pull, and now you pull like nobody's business. Taking out the coil memory, remember as you go down to not pull as tight, because down here it's only 3-pound breaking strain, but up here you can really lay into it. And then this bit where the loop is, I'm really going to pull on this so tight as to produce what is the start of a tight hairpin bend, and I'm going to close that down. What I'm going to use now are my pliers. I'm going to nip one side against the other. Once you've got a purchase on it, then just press it closed, and there I've got the loop nicely closed. So there is now the loop just how I want it. That way, when I put it on the minicon, it will make the equivalent of what looks like a reef knot, which I'm going to do now. I'm going to slide this over, get my line. There's my nice red minicon. Remember the drill. It's nylon loop over minicon loop. Come down to the end of your leader, thread leader through minicon, pull all the way back until that feeds over, and now you feed the knot through. So that's the knot you want. It should look like a reef knot when it's clinched down, and then you can pull tight, and there you've got it. Now I've got to put a tippet length on, so I come right to the fine end of my leader, but in this height of water, there was a drop of rain last night. It brought the river up a little bit overnight, but now it's dropped, but there's still a little bit of water in, a little bit of colour, so I'm deciding to fish with 2 nymphs today. I'm putting the second nymph on really as a sacrificial nymph, just to get my main nymph down a little bit deeper. What I'm going to use now is a dropper, I'll put a dropper on. That gives me the option of either using the dropper or not using the dropper. So there's the end of me leader. I'm taking off now about 3 feet of 2.5 pound breaking strain mono. It's about 3 feet. So this is important now to remember that that is going to be my dropper and that is the tip end of my leader. I'm going to use the standard 2 or 3 turn water knot, and remember, don't bring them up together like that. The 2 pieces have to come in opposite directions like that. Allow about 4 to 4.5 inches of dropper leg, lay one on top of the other. Moistening them helps to keep them together, and then make a loop, pull the whole lot through. That's once, that's your first pass, then through again, both of them, slide it through. When you see that situation with the 2 knots, the 2 loops unequal, find which one is lagging and pull it up so that they are both the same. That's important. And now simply draw them up, holding all 4 tags, 2 tags here, 2 tags there, draw them up. They'll cross over to make an 8, moisten it, and now holding all 4 tags, bear down hard. Remember, all 4 tags. That's the downstream leg, the one your dropper's going to go on, and that's part of the main leader. That's the upstream tag that you don't want. Slip that over your finger nice and tight. Take your nippers and nip that as close as 1 or 2 millimeters. I've confidence in that knot, so I've left just a little tag there, probably 1.5 millimeters. You can trim it even tighter if you want. Check that for length, about 3 feet. I'll just trim that curly bit off the end. And now I'm ready with my flies. So it's mid-May and I know that already there's been some yellow maize coming off, so heptagenid nymphs are going to be very, very active. There's also lots of baetis still about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a heptagenid nymph on the point. There's a nice one. Baetis nymph on the dropper. And this again is another little knot exercise. So now, tie my heptagenid on, and I'm using what many people consider the standard knot for tying flies on. That's the 4 turn half blood. Pull a tag through, trap with the little finger and next to the little finger, ring finger I suppose, go down 4 times, then go back and poke it through the loop. I don't need to tuck this, so I only want to pass it through there, trap it against the body and then just pull through, lubricate it, bit of moisture, bit of spittle, hold the bend and draw it up. Just give the tag a tug and that's the fly connected. Now nip off the waist tag. Don't leave it like that. Some people leave tags sticking up. It annoys the hell out of me. Nip that off again to within about 2 mil. So there is Mr. Heptagenid all ready to go for a little swim. Now we're going to put the baetis nymph on. If that dropper leg is a little bit too long, shorten it. That seems alright, does that? And again, it's exactly the same knot, through the eye, over your fingers, twice, 3 times, 4 times, back through the loop. Trap the tag end against your finger, that way you're not wasting so much mono. Draw this up. When it draws up to there, moisten it and pull it all the way. Now you can get hold of the bend of the hook, draw it tight, pull on the tag. Do test that knot. I know lots of people who go fishing and the flies are loose, the knots aren't drawn up, and fish will dry tuck and you lose the fish. Two final jobs to do now. One very, very important, and that is to degrease the whole of this leader. We've been holding it with greasy, sticky paws, sweaty paws, so we need to get this sweat residue off the mono. A lot of people go nymph fishing and wonder why they're not catching fish and the leader's floating in the film. I use my own concoction, keep it in a 35ml canister. It's a mixture of Fuller's Earth, glycerine and fairy liquid. Keep it in this canister, which is airtight, and it won't dry out. Now, rub the entire leader with this, and really, I like to really rub it hard. Go all the way from point fly up to your dropper, on the dropper leg, and then all the way up the leader, right up to the minicon. And I really work it in quite heavily at this thick butt end, because that's the bit that takes the sinking. And the very final job is to make my minicon quite high floating by anointing it with dilly wax. This is a proprietary floatant. Good daub on my finger. Massage that into the minicon, just onto the last bit of line there, and that'll hold my fly line high, stop the tip sinking. Get that away. All we've got to do now is wind in and go fishing.